Hi everyone, I'm Anya. I lead business development at Kmine. Before we start, I'd like to remind you to follow our LinkedIn page. It's the best way to stay informed about our latest updates and upcoming webinars. I also want to thank you for joining us today. Your support is greatly appreciated. And today's webinar will be focused on how the price of raw materials impacts various aspects of mining companies. I'm also excited to announce that we have a special guest joining us later today is Amir Mirchi, who brings decades of industry experience, and Amir agreed to share his insights of the current state of raw materials and global market overall. Let me begin by giving you a brief overview of Kmine. Our journey started in Ukraine in 1994. And by now, we expanded our presence across Europe, United States, and Canada. Our team is made up of a diverse group of professionals, including developers, geologists, mining engineers. Some of them are qualified persons for NI 43-101 and JORC reporting standards. And we cater to a wide range of clients from small exploration teams to large corporations with a focus on providing high quality and cost-effective solutions. Our bread and butter is our software that is specifically designed for the mining industry, supporting every phase of a mining project from exploration to full-scale production. It includes 12 versatile models that is tailored for both open pit and underground mining. So what makes our software stand out is its adaptability. Whether you're a small operation or large corporation, you can choose the models that suit your workflow, and you can choose one single model or the entire thing. And these models cover everything from geological data processing, surveying, to developing optimized mining plans for both short-term and long-term projects. And you can also integrate our software with IoT devices or dispatch systems. And this way, our software can enable real-time monitoring that would empower you to make fast and data-driven decisions. Our product is developed from a real-world industry experience, specifically designed to tackle the challenges that we've encountered in our consultancy work. As I mentioned, we do have qualified persons and deliver reports that comply with NI 43-101, SK 1300, and JORC standards, customized for various stages of the project, such as mineral resource estimation, PFS, FS, DFS, PEA. And our expertise covers a wide range of hard rock commodities, including key critical minerals. So if you'd like to have more information about our services or maybe how we can support your project, feel free to reach out in the comments below or just use our contact form on our website. So today's stream covers a broad topic, and while we won't provide specific solutions for individual situations, we'll offer a range of suggestions and ideas to inspire action in different circumstances. We'll begin by discussing the concept of commodity price volatility, exploring the factors that drive it and potential impact on mining companies. We'll also delve into financial implications that accompany this volatility. Then we'll discuss technological innovations in the mining industry and how they can affect economy, environment, and financial flows. And in our conversation with our guests, we'll talk about price fluctuation. We'll also touch on global demand, trends, and explore risk management strategies in the face of commodity price volatility. So let's talk about the key factors that influence raw material price volatility in market conditions and understand why they matter. First and foremost, supply and demand, of course, are primary drivers. As with any market commodities, the balance between these forces largely determines the cost of raw materials. However, supply and demand themselves are shaped by many other factors. For example, geopolitics, they play a crucial role with global tensions, relations, conflicts, sanctions. It all impacts supply. And when supply decreases due to such factors, a deficit is created, pushing raw materials prices higher. Social factors such as consumer sentiment, protests, strikes, especially like in producing countries, can significantly disrupt the extraction and supply of raw materials. Production interruptions inevitably affect the supply and drive up prices. Legislation also plays a vital role. New taxes, environmental regulations, trade barriers can raise the cost of extraction and production, leading to higher prices. And conversely, some countries may relax regulations to promote exports and boost the economies, which can lower prices. Also, the thing is of availability of substitute can also affect the cost of materials. So when alternatives are accessible, the demand for the original raw material drops. The cost of extraction and processing directly impacts the market price. Higher energy, higher labor, equipment costs result in more expensive raw materials. Meanwhile, some technological advances can reduce this cost, but it's kind of like complex because some technologies may increase them if they require substantial investment and time to implement it. Active market participants such as traders and speculators also can cause price swings. Even with stable supply and demand, speculation on exchanges can lead to sharp fluctuation in raw material prices. Also, like a thing of investor reaction to a market forecast can heavily influence transaction volumes and future expectations. Monopolies also present another factor. If a signal producer or group controls most of the market, they have the power to manipulate prices by controlling supply. Natural disasters and force majeure events like earthquakes, floods, hurricanes can devastate extraction infrastructure, leading to shortages, price spikes, and history offers numerous examples of this phenomenon. Finally, currency exchange rates impact the cost of raw materials in international trade. A weakened currency in producing country makes its export cheaper for global buyers, potentially increasing demand and raising prices on the world market. So these are just few of the main factors influencing raw material prices, though many others also play a role. So let's look at some of the most significant historical events that directly impacted raw material prices. Let's start with the Great Depression in the 30s. During this difficult period, commodity prices plummeted due to sharp decline in industrial activity and consumer demand, with agricultural commodities being hit especially hard. The resulting price drop caused a widespread economic hardships for farming communities. And the next major disruption was an oil crisis in the 70s, driven by two key events in the Middle East, the Yom Kippur War in 73 and the Iranian Revolution in 79. Both events led to significant interruptions in oil supplies, creating challenges for countries that heavily reliant on energy exports from the region. Unfortunately, similar events remain relevant today, and we can only hope that future fluctuation will be more moderate. Countries without alternative energy sources, though, are the most affected by such market changes. Another critical moment was the commodity boom in the early 2000s. The rapid industrialization in China and soaring global demand caused the prices of metals and agricultural commodities to surge. Metals like copper, aluminum reached record highs and spurred investment in mining and exploration. Then we have 2008 financial crisis, right? That caused a sharp decline in commodity prices. Oil prices, for instance, dropped from $140 per barrel to around $30 per barrel, leading to a slowdown in resource exploration and re-evaluation of commodity investment. The mining sector went through a temporary slowdown, causing an infrastructure development to come to a standstill. Finally, we have most recently COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 deliver a major shock to commodity market. Initial disruption caused prices, especially for oil, to fall sharply. However, as the global economy began to recover, many commodity prices surged due to supply chain issues. Metals like copper and lumber saw significant price increases driven by pent-up demand and supply constraints. Conflicts between Russia and Ukraine and the war in the Middle East affect commodity prices by disrupting production, raising transportation and fuel costs, increasing supply chain risks, and triggering speculative trading. These factors lead the increased costs across energy, food, metals, and agricultural products impacting global markets. So current trends suggest a complex interplay between sustainability initiative, inflationary pressures, and geopolitical factors shaping today's market. And understanding these dynamics is crucial for companies and investors navigating the modern commodity landscape. So as we've seen, the global supply and demand continuously adjust to emerging conditions, with prices eventually stabilizing in the niche until consumer trends shift once again. One of the key trends that consistently impacts the market and must be carefully managed is inflationary pressure. Rising costs for energy, labor, and transportation contribute to the overall increase in raw material prices. Inflation has made cost management a critical priority for businesses. Determining and maintaining minimum price thresholds for these inputs or finding ways to reduce them is a complex challenge. Another prominent and modern trend is the shift towards green energy. This environmental focus cannot be ignored because it's driving up the demand for metals like lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite, and the transition to electric vehicles and renewable energy sources has caused prices for these previously less sought after metals to surge. The emphasis on sustainability is reshaping also market dynamics, and to mitigate future disruptions, companies are rethinking now their supply chains by diversifying sources and increasing reliance on local suppliers. This shift influences pricing strategies as businesses seek more stable, more resilient supply networks, even if local sourcing introduces challenges like, for example, scalability or quality issues. Technological advancement is another key trend reshaping the raw material market. Innovations in mining and processing technologies can improve efficiency and increasing supply and potentially lowering production costs. However, while technological process can reduce expenses, factors like resource availability and rising stripping ratios might drive certain materials prices higher. So lastly, as I mentioned, speculation in commodity market remains a driving factor. Increased trading activity and speculative investments can lead to a greater price volatility, with prices often responding sharply to market sentiment and forecast. So let's discuss how commodity market volatility impact operating costs, specifically focusing on raw materials as an outcome of the mining process. In terms of operating costs, particularly for input materials like fuel, labor, and equipment, price fluctuation can significantly affect overall expenses. For example, sharp rise in fuel prices directly increases transportation and equipment operation costs that leads to higher production costs. Conversely, a decrease in fuel prices can help overall to lower overall production expenses. When it comes to variable costs, falling prices for mine raw materials can lead to higher per unit costs if a company continues to operate at the same level, potentially resulting in losses. On the other hand, rising commodity prices can offset increased production costs, making investment in new technologies and labor more viable. Maintenance and capital expenditures are also influenced by price volatility. During downturns, companies may delay equipment upgrades and maintenance, which can save money in the short term but lead to higher long-term costs as equipment deteriorates. In terms of production planning, mining companies often scale back their operations during the period of low prices to avoid excess inventory and reduce costs. And this can actually result in layoffs and reduced working hours, affecting staff morale and employee retention. Also, price volatility forces sometimes companies to continuously reevaluate ongoing and planned projects. High prices can accelerate project development, while low prices might halt and slow investment in new mines and expansion efforts. For inventory management, companies may adopt more conservative strategies in response to price volatility. During downturns, they might reduce inventory to cut carrying costs, while in periods of rising prices, they may increase inventory to meet demand. Fluctuation prices also complicate financial planning and budgeting. Uncertainty in revenue forecasts can make it difficult to manage cash flows, and it can influence decisions around financing, dividends, and reinvestment. To protect themselves from price volatility, companies can employ financial hedging strategies such as contracts that lock in future prices for sales and purchases. While these strategies provide stability, they come with costs and require careful management. In supply chain management, price changes can impact supplier negotiations. Companies might seek long-term contracts to stabilize costs and diversify suppliers to reduce reliance on a single source during price spikes. Logistics is also another area affected by price volatility. High prices might prompt companies to adopt more efficient transportation methods to cut costs, while lower prices may allow for more flexibility in sourcing. Price fluctuations also influence investment risk assessment. Companies may be less inclined to invest in high-risk projects when commodity prices are low, taking a more conservative approach to exploration and development. And finally, periods of high prices may drive investments in new technologies such as automation or improved mining techniques, which can reduce operating costs. And when capital is more available, these investments are just easier to justify. Let's take a different perspective on price volatility, and specifically when raw materials are used to produce other raw materials and end products. By the way, our software offers a unique feature that addresses this through project sensitivity graphs available in the optimal pit boundaries model. This tool is an essential part of long-term planning, and it allows users to estimate how different factors affect production. So it helps assess how profit and NPV may change in response to variations in different cost categories. By incorporating market forecasts, this tool also helps to determine the range of potential fluctuations, enabling more informed strategic decisions. Additionally, it identifies the most impactful factors, providing opportunities to explore optimization options. And what sets this approach apart is its ability to consider each global project participant individually, to reevaluate the optimization of the site with each one in mind. I also want to highlight and emphasize the extensive range of materials and raw resources required in the mining industry to produce its products. For example, an excavator is made up of numerous parts and components, the cost of which can be heavily influenced by the market price of key materials. The same applies to enrichment process, where raw ore undergoes multiple stages of processing from crushing to flotation. Many of these processes rely on reagents and other specialized components, which may also be subject to market fluctuations unless secured through long-term contracts. This clearly shows that mining operations are highly exposed to market volatility as they depend on a wide array of materials. Another key thing to keep in mind about how raw materials price swings affect the mining business is how they shape strategic decisions in long-term planning. When using the large Grossman algorithm to determine the optimal pit contours, a series of possible contours is generated, each dependent on the factors such as the final product price, production costs, and other variables. The key point is that when profitability decreases, it may be more advantageous to actually select a smaller pit with more favorable mining conditions, even if it means losing access to a larger quantity of minerals. Conversely, when conditions allow for an expansion of the resource base, it may be worth selecting a larger contour with a greater mineral volume, even if the cost rise and could lead to higher profitability in the long run. Lastly, let's consider some purchasing strategies that can help to mitigate the impact of commodity price volatility. One effective approach is to use extended index pricing, where prices are linked to market indices. This allows them to adjust based on current market rates while setting maximum and minimum prices caps to protect against drastic fluctuations. Stability can also be achieved through long-term agreements with suppliers. Locking in prices through long-term contracts helps to ensure supply security and minimize vulnerability to short-term changes in prices. Another important strategy is to include clauses that allow flexibility in purchase quantities based on market conditions. This gives companies the ability to adjust their orders in response to changing demands. Diversifying the supplier base is also key. By maintaining relationships with multiple suppliers, companies can ensure competitive pricing and secure supply, reducing the risk on relying on a single source. Hedging strategies can also be incorporated into contracts, allowing the use of financial instruments to reduce price risks. And in addition, offering performance-based incentives to suppliers encourages collaboration and cost savings, optimizing resource use. Regular contract reviews are essential as well. It enables companies to evaluate terms and make adjustments as market conditions evolve. Finally, it's important to include robust force majeure clauses in contracts to protect against unexpected events that may disrupt supply chains. This helps ensure that both parties are covered in the case of unforeseen circumstances. By implementing these strategies, mining companies can more effectively manage the impact of price fluctuations, creating a more stable and cost-effective operation. And this proactive approach also not only supports profitability, but also strengthens the resilience of the supply chain. Let's take a look on how some major companies have successfully navigated commodity prices volatility. For example, BHP, it's one of the world's largest mining companies and has experienced significant swings in prices, particularly with iron ore and copper. To manage this, BHP adopted a strategy of diversification, spreading its exposure across multiple commodities to reduce the risk of price drops in any single market. And the company also focused on strict cost management, ensuring profitability even during downturns, and invested in technologies to improve production efficiency and lower costs. As a result, BHP maintained a strong balance sheet during price declines, allowing it to invest during downturns and recover quickly when prices rose. Rio Tinto, another major player, has faced volatility in aluminum, copper, and iron ore markets. The company's management responded by using financial hedging strategies to protect against price drops. They also implemented flexible production strategies, adjusting production volumes according to market conditions, and focused on premium products such as high-grade iron ore to maintain profitability. These strategies helped Rio Tinto navigate downturns and take full advantage of upturns in the market. Newmont, another leading gold miner, has faced significantly price volatility in the gold market. To address this, Newmont has continuously improved operational efficiency, lowering the cost per ounce of gold produced. The company has kept a diverse mix of mines and projects to balance risks, and it also managed cash flow very well, maintaining a solid cash reserve to handle price drops and support expansion when the time is right. This approach has allowed Newmont to remain profitable even during the period of falling gold prices. Barrick Gold has managed gold price volatility through several strategic actions. The company focused on reducing debt to improve financial stability, used hedging instruments to protect against price declines, and invested in exploration to secure future production. These efforts have strengthened Barrick's financial position and allowed it to weather gold prices downturns while positioning for future growth. And finally, Freeport, a major player in the copper market, faced challenges with fluctuating copper prices. The company responded by entering into long-term sales contract to stabilize revenue, implementing cost reduction measures, and optimizing supply chains, diversifying its product base by expanding into also gold and molybdenum production. And this combination of strategies enabled Freeport to maintain cash flow and market position during price downturns, setting the stage for growth as prices recovered. Commodity price swings significantly impact the company's revenue and profitability, especially for those relying on one single commodity. High prices make it easier to raise capital, while low prices increase perceived risk, resulting in higher interest rate and tougher financial options. In downturns, companies often delay investment to conserve cash, whereas high prices encourage expansion and exploration to take advantage of favorable markets. Effective cash flow management helps companies handle price volatility. Maintaining cash reserves during profitable times provides a buffer during downturns, supporting steady operations. And as I mentioned, many companies also hedge to lock in the future prices, stabilizing revenue despite its cost. Successful hedging improves financial predictability and helps to sustain profitability during price swings. And companies that demonstrate resilience to price fluctuations often enjoy higher market valuations, while those that struggle to adapt may see their share prices decline. Many companies also need to adjust their dividend policies based on profitability, which can impact investor sentiment. Investors typically favor stable dividends, and maintaining them during downturns can be challenging but crucial for retaining investor confidence. It's essential for companies to incorporate price risk management and assessment into their long-term strategic planning to ensure sustainable growth and profitability. So now let's focus on financial forecasting and budgeting on an uncertain environment, given that mining companies are particularly vulnerable to commodity price fluctuation. Adaptive strategies are essential for effective forecasting. One key approach is to develop multiple scenarios based on the potential price changes. This helps assess both risk and opportunities, ensuring the company is prepared for a range of market conditions. Instead of relying on static budgets, implementing rolling forecasts allows companies to continuously update their projections based on the latest data, which increases accuracy and provides a clearer financial outlook. Regular sensitivity analysis of cost and profitability is also crucial. By understanding how shifts in commodity prices impact revenues and expenses, companies can better gauge their financial resilience and make necessary adjustments to their strategies. So let's see how technology can help manage risk in a volatile commodity market. One powerful tool is predictive analytics, which uses advanced algorithms to analyze historical data and market trends. This enables mining companies to forecast price movements and make informed decisions about production and sales. Market monitoring is also essential for developing and maintaining effective strategies. Constantly tracking global market conditions allow companies to react quickly to price fluctuations and adjust accordingly. Supply chain optimization is another critical factor. Streamlining supply chains can significantly reduce unexpected risk and disruptions, improving overall company performance. Real-time data integrations facilitated by IoT sensors provides instant insight into inventory levels and demand. So this allows companies to manage inventory more effectively and make timely production adjustments to minimize waste and cost. Blockchain technology can also enhance supply chain transparency, enabling companies to track goods from the source to the market. This improves negotiation power and pricing strategies by providing a clearer view of market conditions. Specialized risk management software is also critical in today's world. These tools help companies implement hedging strategies, manage derivatives, assess exposure to price fluctuations, and offering a structured approach to mitigating financial risks. Scenario analysis tool, which I mentioned earlier, allow companies to model various outcomes and their potential impact on financial performance. This helps businesses to prepare for potential risks and build resilience. Automation and robotics offer efficiency gains that can reduce operational costs, though they require upfront investment. Once implemented, automation boosts profitability by reducing dependence on labor and minimizing vulnerability to price drops. AI-driven predictive maintenance goes a step further by forecasting equipment issues before they happen, reducing downtime, optimizing production capacity, and stabilizing costs. Also, technologies like autonomous vehicles and drones improve operational efficiency and safety, enabling continuous production even in challenging conditions. This helps stabilize both production volumes and revenues. AI and machine learning are now key tools for improving efficiency and saving time. AI can process vast amounts of operational data to identify cost-saving opportunities, increasing profitability even when prices are unstable. In some cases, AI may even reduce the need for certain jobs. Machine learning algorithms can also enhance the accuracy of price forecasting by continuously analyzing new data, helping companies to stay ahead of market trends. And from everything that I mentioned, what significantly reduces operating costs in the mining industry is the introduction of automation and robotics. Automated vehicles and equipment such as autonomous trucks and drills can operate continuously without the need for human intervention. This boosts productivity and lower labor costs, allowing companies to maintain production levels even when commodity prices are low. For instance, Rio Tinto's use of automated haulage systems has dramatically increased efficiency while reducing operating expenses. Advances also in exploration technologies, including geophysical imaging and drones, have also improved the accuracy and speed of resource identification. These tools allow mining companies to locate high-quality deposits quicker and at lower cost, reducing the resources and time needed for exploration. This not only cuts down on initial investment, but also helps companies to respond faster to market shifts. Another important development is the transition to renewable energy sources. Many mining companies are investing in solar, wind, and hydroelectric power to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. This shift not only cuts energy costs, but also shields companies from rising energy prices, which can have a significant impact on operating expenses. For example, using solar panel power in remote mining operations especially can significantly lower energy costs while supporting sustainability goals. Collaboration platforms using cloud technologies are also gaining traction in the mining industry. These platforms connect suppliers, manufacturers, buyers, improving communication and data sharing throughout the supply chain. By fostering collaboration, companies can better anticipate market changes, optimize supply chain operations, and reduce costs related to inventory management and logistics. This collective intelligence strengthens the industry ability to respond to price fluctuations. Today, changes in what consumer wants, like more sustainable products, along with recent supply chain issues and the move towards greener energies, are all shaking up demand. Global economic growth, especially in emerging markets like China and India, drives demand for raw materials, leading to supply chain pressures and price volatility. Technological investments such as EVs and renewable energy boost demand for specific materials like lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper, and rare earth elements. And sustainability trends and circular economy are also shifting material demand with increased focus on recycling and sustainable sourcing. Political tensions and trade policies disrupt supply chain, while tighter environmental regulations push industries towards eco-friendly materials. Urbanization in developing countries also drive demand for construction materials like steel and cement. And if we look at the future demand, it looks like this trend will continue to rise, especially considering rapid growth in emerging markets like Asia, Africa, Latin America. They all pushing demand for raw materials. Their reliance on imports, though, makes them more vulnerable to price swings, which can drive up cost, fuel inflation, and shift consumption patterns. In the future, it's expected that emerging markets will keep driving up demand for construction materials like steel and cement as they invest in infrastructure, but price volatility can complicate project financing and execution. The push for green tech and electric vehicles we see today is expected to continue boosting demand for raw materials like lithium, cobalt, yet their prices often fluctuate due to geopolitical and supply chain issues. Managing these swings will be essential as these regions expand EV production. Geopolitical tensions and trade disputes cause price swings, affecting countries relying on imports with higher costs and potential inflation. Sustainability goals also add volatility as demand for recycled materials grows. Virgin material prices may spike if supply can't keep up. Emerging markets are building resilient supply chains by diversifying suppliers and boosting domestic mining to stabilize prices. Governments also can help by implementing policies like strategic reserves and subsidies to shield against price shocks. And with this, I'd like to invite our speaker for today, Amir Mirchi. Amir is currently a CEO at Sarmin Metals, and before that, he actually worked for 28 years for Rio Tinto, so I'm sure he has a lot of stories and a lot of insights. And it will be interesting to hear your perspective, Amir. What do you think are current demand trends in the global market, and where do you think they are headed in the future? Do you agree with our analysis, or do you think we missed out something?
Okay, Anya, thank you very much. And thank you for your very comprehensive presentation. I cannot more than agree with what you describe and you explain. So let me first explain who we are, and then to provide a little bit insight from our perspective, from industrial perspective. So Sarmin Metals is a Singapore registered emerging mining company. We own through our subsidiaries iron ore licenses in Africa. Our current focus is in Liberia. So we have already done more than 7,300 meters diamond drilling, and we are at the feasibility stage. And the Canadian Hatch has been appointed to conduct our feasibility study. And hopefully within next 18 to 24 months, we go through production. And I should say upfront, one of the key challenge among various challenges for mining industry is the logistics side of it. Everything related to inland transportation and port facility for shipping. We are very lucky. Our deposit is located at about 70 kilometers from coast. So this challenge is less. I'm not saying no challenge,
Right.
but less challenge. So let's continue our discussion. Let me first start about the demand side. So as the countries undergo urbanization, industrialization, and electrification, as you very properly highlighted, Anya, there is an increased demand for raw materials in general, and some like steel, copper, aluminum are crucial for construction, for infrastructure development, electrification, right, and various consumer goods. So the expansion of manufacturing industry and urbanization lead to higher requirement in various materials, consequently driving up the demand for raw material. So increase of demand of raw material stimulates market growth, driving up the price, encouraging investment in mining sector, and fostering innovation in extracting and processing technology. And I particularly appreciated what you highlighted during your presentation about innovation and technology, because the mining industry, like many other industries, need a lot to leverage this technological breakthrough, intelligence, artificials, and others to better develop the project. So, in summary, from demand perspective, our expectation is both the emerging and developed countries will continue to lead increasing demand for raw material. In terms of now price volatility, this is more complicated in today's world, honestly, from various angles. And you quite well covered different angles. But again, let me just compliment your information you provided.
Thank you.
Yeah, the commodity trading industry has enjoyed an upward of trend over past years. While oil industry go through multi-layer cycle of high and low, the industry prospect looks excellent for years ahead. So very optimistic, very positive. But this doesn't mean we don't have a challenge. Indeed, the commodity trading is on the transition to the next normal. The ongoing energy transition is an economic and physical transformation. From a commodity trading standpoint, this transformation will increase a structural volatility, disrupt trade flows to open new arbitrage, and fundamentally alter commercial relationships. All this development will create unique opportunity and challenges. for existing and for new players like us.
Mhm.
So with the war on inflation, this is on a positive side, with the war on inflation being won, the central bank actively cutting rate, the case for an economic soft landing is in the horizon, which is very good for mining sector, for mining industry. While significant economic and environmental benefit could be captured from decarbonization, the inconsistency of incentives, bottlenecks in value chain, and current geopolitical turbulence have clouded the supply and demand picture, creating also new challenges. Let me explain a bit more by quoting McKinsey actually. From a commodity trader's perspective, profitability is determined by a combination of price level and volatility. That means opportunity. According to McKinsey, last year financial results of commodity traders tend more to correlate to volatility than absolute price. So that means being agile, being more creative, and using better various tools that we have and to capture the opportunity. But challenging side of this is also, given this expectation of more price volatility, flexible capacity to respond to changing market condition will become more critical from both balancing and economic standpoint. However, estimating the value of this flexibility based on forecast is challenging, especially when physical assets are subject to operational, regulatory, and environmental constraints.
Right.
So another forecast, more from World Bank. So World Bank forecast on commodities. The commodity price are projected from World Bank perspective to experience a slight downturn in 24. We see it already, but in 24 and 25, but still expected to be above pre-pandemic. We very often forget that. So because
Yeah.
during few
We're
years,
still operating in the pandemic mind.
absolutely. But talking about the metal price, according to World Bank, so to 24 steady remain almost the same, but start increasing from 25. Now, let me talk about iron ore. This is our bread and butter today. So let's have a quick look about the size of the market. The global iron ore market size was valued at close to $280 billion in 23. And you highlighted major players like BHP, Rio Tinto, Vale, among others. And it is projected to grow to 290 billion in 24 this year, and to 300, almost close to $400 billion by 32, which means a strong annual growth of 4%.
Steady growth.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, Asia Pacific dominate the market. About 73% of iron ore demand in 23 was from that part of the world. But the good news is around US. So we expect the US investing and growing the iron ore demand due to industrialization, replacement of aging infrastructure. So the expectation is about $18 billion the iron ore market in US by 32. That means around 8 years from now, which is quite large for US. So infrastructure project, especially developing region, have the potential to stimulate the demand for steel and iron ore. Government expenditure on extensive infrastructure is anticipated to fuel the growth. This increased demand can lead to higher price and increased production of iron ore market, presenting beneficial to opportunity to investors and to producers. But obviously, all that rosy messages is not without challenge. There are a lot of challenges, uncertainty. The global economy can be impacted, as you mentioned, by geopolitics. And we know in today's world, there are a lot that impact a lot. The trade, commodity price. In terms of financial market, this happened both through indirect capital control or financial sanction, and indirectly through increasing uncertainty, higher risk premium, and asset price surge.
So
On the trade side,
how do you like, I guess maybe in your experience, like what do you think would be the most effective risk management practices that you employ? Like, I mean, I mentioned a few. What do you think about those? Do you employ like something specific? I know that iron ore is predicted to growth, but I guess do you estimate what happens, let's say, if it drops, if God forbid COVID-2 hits or something like that?
mm, no, look, this is a good question, good and complicated, a good question with a complicated answer. If I look from a mining perspective, from industrial perspective, one of the key mitigation is optimizing cost and reducing cost, increasing the resilience. So I still remember the iron ore price around $30 per ton. You know, it's not few decades. We are talking about maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. That was the iron ore price. But today price is slightly above $100. But a couple of months ago, it was below $100. So when this type of events happening, then it's become very challenging for some markets, for some project, especially high cost project far from the coast, project requiring a lot of logistics. So my key message is first, trying to optimize as much as possible the cost. There are various things, various ways of optimizing the cost, and you are expert, Ania, you are and your group in that, like many other engineering firms. They are very creative. Obviously, larger company, major mining companies, they have internal capability, they can address that. But the emerging companies like ours rely on the market, rely on our network, on our suppliers and partners to help us with that. And then this notion of flexible capacity. This is something we need really more think about it. If you ask me today how we can be effective with that, I do not have, unfortunately, the answer for that, because it's very challenging. It's not an easy thing because you have your assets already. So you invested a lot of money, and also there are regulations. You are operating,
Right.
especially if you are operating in emerging countries. So the country need a steady income through royalty, through the tax. So and also job creation. So it's very complicated, complicated scenario, but we need to think about that. We need collectively as an industry think about that and to see how we can address that issue, because volatility will be part of the future.
Yeah.
We don't see like before this stable price. Hopefully we will get it, we will be there, but it will happen the episode where the volatility will be there. And what we want to avoid is, because mining industry is very capital intensive, investing massive capex in your project, and then because the iron ore price drop, I don't know, below $80, $70, and then you are not profitable, and then you will go through bankruptcy, which will damage your company, but which will damage the country and the global economy.
So you more kind of like oriented to, okay, let's optimize price as much as we can, despite on the state of the market, and like kind of like move slow but fast, right? That's kind of like your strategy. And what do you think about like hedging, for example, mining companies can reduce
Yeah.
risks in volatile markets through diversifications, hedging, like efficiency improvement. What do you think about those?
Okay. So before answering your question about the hedging, let me step back. You know, one of the thing we learn. I came from large industry, massive production, expensive projects. But what my advice is to emerging companies, especially in mining industry, let's start small. Don't be too ambitious. I still remember when I discussed with my colleague at the beginning about our strategy, what would be our strategy in terms of our company. So my view was, let's start with a small production, a 1 million ton production. It doesn't make sense for large company. I understand, but for emerging companies, absolutely it makes sense. So let's start small, generate cash flow, managing properly your various aspects of infrastructure, logistics, and then grow progressively. So this is my advice and my strategy in managing our company. Now, in terms of hedging, obviously, hedging is a good instrument to protect companies, to maintain a decent cash flow, and to keep the balance sheet enough
Yeah.
to cover the ongoing cost. But this should be done in a very smart way, because otherwise you are leaving a lot of money on the table by hedging as well. So hedging required a lot of expertise. Even if we are an emerging company, I will not go, or we will not go alone to develop a strategy around hedging. Let's bring expert around the table. Let's see what is the most optimum thing for your company. And each case is different.
Even like tools like ETFs or like a kind of like more simpler hedging tool.
Yeah, look, all those tools, we need to take benefit of that. It's all depend where your company stands. If it is a smaller company, emerging companies, so easier to manage, you look at your financial situation, your balance sheet, and capital available to you, then you will make a decision. But I always favor to balance the risk. And one of the way of balancing the risk is hedging. So hedging is a good tool, and we need to use it, just I'm saying, smartly, by taking benefit of various tools and various expertise in that matter.
Um, and I guess question is also about like junior companies, right? Junior companies operate on tight budgets. They are more vulnerable to rising costs, like fuel, equipment, labor. They're more also sensitive to like commodity price swings. It also impact like investor interest in price volatility, impact like investor confidence. What advice would you give like to junior projects to how to survive in these conditions?
Very simple. Keep low your cost. Keep low your cost. This is the only way. If you start with a project, I don't know, $70, $80 cost FOB, then you are at risk. It is also depend where you are located. Some jurisdictions are very expensive in terms of operation. Our beautiful country, Canada, is one example. Australia is another example. US, where you are sitting, is in those countries, we need to be more creative. And then there are emerging countries for which job creation is key, revenue for the government in terms of royalty and tax are key. So we need to keep low our cost to become really resilient.
From your experience in terms of the technology, obviously you have been part of like huge operations and now you kind of like scale down with ceramic metals. What is the, I guess, what is the technology that you think saves the most and kind of like is more efficient in terms of the cost effectiveness, in terms of the reducing operating expenses on the small scale and on the large scale?
Yeah, very, very, very good, a very relevant, let's say, question. Yeah, technology is key to our industry, and when I'm talking about keep low your cost, is leveraging all technologies, all tools available. Let's give you an example. So we just finished our drilling program. So one of the key cost input to our drilling activity is fuel and inefficiency of various type of equipment we are using, excavator, dozer, and also rigs. So really the industry need to modernize and to include a lot of smart approach and algorithm, intelligence artificial, and name it, into that type of equipment operation to reduce the fuel consumption, which is good in terms of cost, which is good in terms of environmental, and then in terms of fleet management, to have the right tools to manage properly your equipment. And even though you use old dozer or excavator, but how can you manage the operation to make it more cost effective? So you see, those are the things. And then for inland transportation, again, the same. If the transportation is the road, then you are using trucking. So you need to make sure you have the right tool to manage your fleet and try to use the most energy efficient trucks and mobile equipment. So there are technology. We already see the impact of technology on our cost, but it will play a more and more important role. Engineering firms like yours can play a very good role in integrating this type of know-how, how to bring this type of know-how in our production.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess my question is like from your experience, like there is, let's say, robotics, right? There is AI technology. Obviously, when we operate with the junior companies, they have like a very tight. They don't have like large budgets like well, corporations for innovation. What would be the priority? Do you think that, like you mentioned, you emphasized the importance of equipment, so would be like robotics, let's say, like trucks that can be driven without human interaction, would that be kind of like a worth investment for junior companies, or would you think that there is more priority for like AI driven technologies that can actually analyze the data and give you the future projections? I guess if you would prioritize, I know it's hard, but if you would prioritize.
Yeah, no. But as a junior company or emerging companies, I think the more the technological innovation in terms of algorithm, in terms of AI, are more relevant rather than robotic, because because it's very capital intensive and it's required right environment, especially when you are operating in the emerging countries. Infrastructure is not well developed. So we are experiencing, like many other emerging companies, a lot of challenges just to get a stable internet connection. We have done airborne survey, and just transferring data, our supplier required a strong and stable internet. But we are facing, as a junior company, some very basic challenges as compared to the larger. But at the same time, we are learning a lot from larger company, and we inspire one day to be part of the larger company and to become a large company. So I'm not
Right.
saying necessarily alone, but with support of others.
Got it. Do you think what would be the price fluctuation on raw materials if, like, let's say, all of the technology implemented is like 100%? Like, will it be kind of like as volatile as it is now, or because it's kind of like just evens out because everybody would use this technology?
Unfortunately, if I look at my crystal ball, I would say it would remain it would remain volatile and maybe even more because there are outside factors. You very well highlighted geopolitical factor, a natural
Yeah,
disaster. The climate change is not just a dream; it's a reality. You see
right.
it. Uh,
Yeah.
we are receiving the amount of rain we never ever experienced in that part of the world.
Hmm.
So no, we should prepare ourselves to deal with price volatility.
Hmm. Do you think demand can be like artificially created for some reason? For example, let's say increased price of some specific materials, and if it does happen, how often does it happen?
Look, I cannot comment that much that because it's complicated, but let's focus. The demand is strong. It is cyclic, of course.
Yeah.
Everything is relative, but it will remain strong, and therefore the price will be there
Yeah.
because they are together. No, uh, because of all regulation and also the connectivity, market connectivity, maintaining artificially the price high. I don't believe that. Um,
Hmm.
in today's world, it's too complicated, and it should
And in
not
terms of,
happen because yeah.
right, and in terms of like monopoly, do you think that the demand can be controlled a certain group of people? And should it be, or it kind of like should it be like free ranged? I mean,
No,
you
the monopoly has never been a good thing uh, for anyone for any country, and we are
right,
very lucky to have rule and regulation to avoid and to prevent these things. But let's go at the lower level. More players, more diversity
yeah,
is a great thing for the industry. Honestly, us operating as an emerging company in Africa, we would love to collaborate with other junior companies, with other, because if they are successful, we are successful. There are rooms
hmm.
for everyone.
I mean, I guess I can see how it can be maybe monopolized for a certain period of time if we're talking about like companies that drive innovation and they maybe have a demand for specific material that is not in demand yet, and people, let's say, don't know. So I can maybe, what do you think about it? I think maybe only maybe in this specific scenario for a limited period of time while it's not exposed yet.
Yeah. No, look, we are experiencing that. Look at these fancy things. We are in iron ore business. It's not
Yeah,
as fancy as some other minerals, maybe. Although even Canadian government consider iron ore as a critical minerals because iron ore is the base to support
right.
infrastructure. Iron ore, copper, aluminum. Um, but but we should not rush in that.
Mhm.
One of the challenge, and unfortunately we see it here in Canada, is a lot of subsidy investing massively in business creating producing battery and this and critical minerals, but at the same time look what's happened to lithium price. How can you
Right.
survive with current lithium price while you are managing very high cost project, because lithium projects are very expensive, require expensive process. So I think discipline, being a structure, articulating a strategy is the right thing to do. Unfortunately, some government timeline is shorter than the industry because it's election cycle. So then they pour money and everyone rush towards same material by thinking in the future those raw material will become one day key, but how you sustain, how you can maintain your current operation. So I'm saying let's slow down, think about it, go progressively, and be creative.
All right. Well, Amir, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your participation. Hope we can do it again someday. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. We hope that insight shared today has sparked new ideas, encouraged you to reassess your company's financial strategies. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Thank you.